Hey, Roger.
Hey Martin, what's up?
Oh, nothing much. I see you still have dog photos on the wall behind you. You're still doing dog photography?
I still do, and that reminds me, last time we spoke, we did a REST API with a Firestore backend, but a lot of comments have come in asking us to do the same REST API, but with a CloudSQL backend. What do you think about that?
Oh, that sounds fun. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, so I created a Bark API project here, and I guess now we need to create a CloudSQL instance, huh?
Yep, and that shouldn't be too hard. It's pretty simple. They make it pretty simple. There's a few clicks.
Yeah. Should we do MySQL, Roger?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Let's do it. All right, and here, how about instance ID bark, and for a password, I will enter my super secret password here, visible for everybody.
Yep, let's keep this between us.
Yeah, that's right. Iowa and SQL 5.7.
Looks good.
All right. Let's see. Maybe for this Bark API, we don't need 4 CPUs.
Yeah, not yet. For development purposes, let's shrink that down to something a little bit smaller.
Yeah, that's right. A little bit smaller and a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
So 1 CPU, I'm sure, will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and let's hit create. This would be a good time to go and refill that coffee cup.
Yep, I'm gonna go walk my dog, so I'll be back.
All right.
And
we're back. The database has been created. The database server instance has been created. What's next?
Now we have to actually create a database for our data to live.
Oh, right. Because one database server can have many database databases on it, right?
Yes.
So maybe dog data? Should we call it that?
Let's name it dog data. And this should only take a quick second. There it is. It's done.
Ah, nice.
So now we have an empty database, no tables or anything. So let's connect to it via the Cloud Console.
Yeah.
Now we're in.
All right, cool. So here we're in the database. Let's see if we have any tables. Oh, we need to pick a database. So we'll use this database. Okay, so we're in dog data database. Let's see what tables we have. Oh, no tables.
None. So now let's create a table called breeds.
Breeds. Okay, that sounds good.
And this is going to have the same fields that we did in our last video. So it's going to have a name field.
Okay, name.
It's going to be varchar 30. Make that unique.
Oh.
That way we can use, so we don't have more than one breed in there with the same name.
Very nice.
Life expectancy.
Life expectancy. Yep. Is that an int?
That is an int.
Okay. And what is it more? Type, right?
We should have had type before life expectancy.
Oh, it was type before?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Very good. That means I have to spell life expectancy again. That's a hard word.
Yes, you do.
And then was it origin, right?
Origin. That's another varchar.
All right. So we now have a table. All right, let's see what's in the table.
There should be absolutely
Absolutely
nothing in that table. So last video you mentioned you like poodles, so let's add poodle to our SQL database.
Okay.
Insert into breeds, values. Don't forget the values keyword or else it's going to yell at you.
I always do this.
Error message. Yeah.
All right, good.
Poodle is a sporting dog.
Oh, sporting. So sporting like that?
Yep.
All right.
Life expectancy is about 14.
14, very good.
And they are from Germany.
Oh, as much as I like poodles, I didn't know that.
Now you know. Boom. Okay.
There it is.
How's that look? Yep, looks good to me. So there we go. We have a REST Poodle API. So now we can jump to the code and make it so that we can check this out with HTTP requests.
Oh, my favorite part, code. So let's see, we have package.json here from previously that you had written. Thank you for putting this together, Roger. We have, you put 2 dependencies in here?
Yeah, we're just going to have Express and MySQL. So Express is going to serve as an HTTP server, and then MySQL will be used to, communicate with the SQL database on the back end. So it's as simple as that. And then we also have that start lines. That's what we're going to use to start our app on the container once it's up in Cloud Run.
All right, so I see here the start script mentions index.js. So I guess that's where the action is, huh?
Yep, that's where the magic happens. So to start out with, not a lot going on. Once again, we're initializing the app with Express, and then we're having it listen to port 8080, where it'll console log that the REST API is listening to port 8080, and then it's going to reply to any HTTP request to the root with a JSON object saying the status, which is bark bark, ready to roll.
All right, cool. Let's run it, see what happens. So,
And there it is.
Listening on port 8080. So we got here in the code. Now let's see what we can get here.
Yeah, in a new window, just do a quick curl localhost 8080 and see what we get.
8080. Whoa, look at that, Roger.
Yes.
Looks great.
Ready to roll. Yeah. But as you can tell, there are no poodles yet. So now let's add another app-get function that's going to return the breed information that we specify in the URL.
All right. So you said we'll have another app-get here. How about I start typing and you can explain what's going on?
Yeah, that's good. Sounds like a good plan. So we're going to have another app-get. This time it's going to take the variable for breed so that we can attach our breed to the end of the URL. And then we're going to construct a query, which is going to be a standard SQL query. Select everything from breeds where the name is equal to that breed variable. And then we're going to take that query variable and throw it into the pool.query method. And this is pretty much what's going to relay our request to the SQL database on the back end. So if there's no results, we want to let the user know that there are no results. So yeah, status not found. Sounds like a good way to let them know. Right. If there are results, we want to respond with a JSON object with that result in it. All right, so, and I referenced the pool variable up top. Let's define that.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much the pool of connections that our application has to the SQL database on the back end. So we're going to put a few environment variables that aren't defined yet. Well, they are defined, but we'll show that in a little bit. But this is pretty much the credentials that it needs to access the database that we just created a little earlier.
Yeah, and I like to usually, let's see, process and, the instance. Right, okay. I like to make this, there we go. I like to make this usually a global variable like this. So because it's a global, then it's reused between invocations. So if two HTTP calls hit the same Cloud Run instance that has served a request before, it can just reuse the pool variable here and doesn't have to create it anew.
Right. Let's scroll up a little bit. Let's make sure. Let's take that V out
of
the app-get function. Typo. Caught that. Let's checking it out real quick. It looks good to me. If it looks good to you.
All right.
I think now we can deploy this.
Aha. And you sent me this handy dandy deployment script. So I'm just going to run it. And let's see here.
And this deploy script might look it's going to look very familiar. We've used it before. It's going to have a little bit more information in it because since we're connecting to a CloudSQL instance, it's going to require a few specific flags and the environment variables that we reference in the index.js code. So those are the environment variables up top: Cloud Project ID, the instance connection name, the database credentials, and those are referenced in the second command there, cloud run deploy. The first one, cloud build submit, is going to build our container and submit it to the cloud, the Google container registry under our project.
Yep. And here in the second one, you said, oh, right, here is where we're using all of those variables, like the database password, database user.
Yeah, and it's important that we include also the add Cloud SQL instances flag as well, because that's going to allow our container to actually use Cloud SQL backend.
Yeah, and it looks like it deployed down here.
It looks like it finished. So now let's jump back to the Cloud Console. Let's check out the Cloud Builds page.
All right, let's go to...
and let's see how that looks.
Build, Cloud Build.
Cloud Build.
Succeeded.
23 seconds ago. So it looks all good. If we head over to the registry, container registry,
we
should see our container. There it is.
There it is.
The latest. So 1 minute ago, so that's definitely it. Let's tag that with a version 1.0.
The most dangerous version of any software.
Version 1.0.
All right, so here we are in Cloud Run. We see our service here. And let's look at the revisions. All right, 100% is going to the latest revision. That's looking good.
Let's click that URL, see what we got. We should, off the bat, get that ready to roll. There it is, ready to roll.
Nice.
Okay, looking good. Now let's check out our Poodle.
Okay, the moment of truth. Poodle. Look at that.
Okay, there it is. Poodle, Sporting, 14, Germany. Boom. Okay, so that works.
Excellent.
Okay. What's next? I think now we want to be able to add more entries once again, because again, having one entry is not very useful. So let's jump back to the code.
It is kind of sad, the database. As much as I like poodles, it is a little sad to only have poodles.
And we're back in index.js, right? Yep. So we've had our two get functions. We've defined pool. Now what we're going to do is add a post function. So that's going to look like app.post.
Start typing. Here we go. App.post, you said.
Yep, and we're just going to send a post request to the root. The callback method is going to be this asynchronous function. We're going to throw our data into this variable object because we'll use it again in a second. So rec body name, that's just taking the request's data, because the request is going to be a JSON object. So it's going to take that data out of that JSON object and throw it into this data variable. Name type life expectancy origin. Close that out. And then we want to do what we did before, which is make that query variable and now construct our query, which is another simple SQL query. It's actually an insert query to insert into breeds these values. So these question marks are going to be used to insert our values in the pool.query function right there in that second argument. And if there's an error, we want to respond with a JSON object saying that there was an error. So, yep, status failure. And the reason is going to be the actual error. If there is no error, well, we want to reply with the object that you just added to our database and a status of success. So here's where we use that data variable that we defined in the beginning of this post function. So that looks good to me.
Yeah, let me just eyeball it here, make sure I made no typos this time. Yeah, looks about right.
Looks about right, and that's good enough for me. So let's deploy this once again with the deploy.sh script.
All right.
And there it goes.
So Roger, I wonder here, in deploy.sh, we're putting the password here in sort of plain text in a file. It feels a little iffy. What do you think about this?
It doesn't feel good. You should never do that. This is just for demonstration purposes. So typically you'd want to use a more secure way to handle that, like a secrets manager.
Oh, right. That's part of the GCP, right?
Yes.
Secret manager. Yeah. Okay, cool. But then other variables that aren't as secret as passwords, they are fine to have as environment variables, right?
Right. That's correct.
Okay, so it looks like the deployment finished. We'll go back here. I guess we'll see here, and if we refresh.
We can check back on the container registry page.
Oh, right. Let's do that.
And let's tag that second upload as our version 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
I feel good about jumping from 1 to 2. It seems like a big update. We're adding post functionality.
Being able to write. Yeah. So here we have that one. We'll do version 2.0. We are rolling. All right.
Cloud Run, Bark API service. Let's hit that URL once again. Make sure we didn't break the original functionality that we had, which was just, brutal.
Oh, okay. And 100% goes to the latest. Yeah, let's make sure we didn't break it. Okay. It's just hitting the root there. Still getting through. Poodle. Let's see if we broke it.
We didn't break it. Let's try one more thing. Remember, we have an error message if we don't have that dog. So let's try Pug.
Pug. Okay.
The beloved Pug.
That's not my favorite kind of dog. Okay, we'll try it anyway.
Okay.
Not found.
Not found. Okay, good. So our error works too. So now let's jump to Postman and see if we can add Pug to our database.
All right, let's do it.
So Postman, the audience might have seen it in our past episodes, but this is pretty much a tool that we use to test REST APIs. Super handy for sending post and GET requests to HTTP servers.
Yeah, so I'll copy the. It makes it a lot easier to send post requests, as you said. I'm copying the URL here, and top of the morning. All right, very nice. Here we go. So there's the URL. Let's see. Can we make this bigger?
Make that bigger.
There's better. Okay, we are not going to post to /poodle. We're just going to post to the root.
And that was referenced in the code. So we're posting to the root.
Yep.
We're going to send this format of JSON.
Yeah, and let's see here. It's a little tricky. You have to select raw and then JSON for all the types to work out correctly. Okay, so here I just copied the poodle. Now we're not going to paste the poodle in again in the database. That would actually lead to an error, right? Because we have a unique constraint.
It should give us an error and it won't add the poodle. But let's add Pug, since you love Pug so much too. P-U-G. Right. Pug is a companion.
Oh, not a sporting dog? Okay.
Surprise, it's a companion dog. Life expectancy is about 13.
13, okay. And where is that? I don't know where that's from.
The Pug is from China.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. All right. So
there's our JSON object.
Yeah.
Let's send that off.
Let's send that off.
Sending that request. We should get a success status. Yes. And then a copy of the data that we just added. Just to make triple sure, let's hop into our browser and go to the /pug URL and see if we can get our Pug data.
So we're doing Pug here. And there it is.
All right. So now we've got 2 dogs in our database. So now it's a limitless opportunity to add dog breeds to our database and serve them via HTTP requests, all serverless.
Very cool. This was a fun programming project.
Yeah, it was pretty easy too. Surprisingly, it's not a lot of work to get this up and running.
Yeah, right. All right, cool. Thank you everybody for watching. This episode was created thanks to feedback and questions from you in the comments below. So if there's anything else you would like us to program here, please add it in the comments. Or if you have any questions about how we built this, See you later.